Counting is underway in the election of a mayor by the Ekurhuleni Metro's councillors. The race is now between the DA's Tania Campbell, who was booted out recently in a motion of no confidence, and the ANC's Jongizizwe Dlabathi after withdrawal of the EFF's Nkululeko Dunga. This morning, our reporter Govan Whittles is live for us in the Ekurhuleni Council. Govan, so Dunga's withdrawal and now the remaining candidates are the ANC and the DA. Does this mean then that we can officially say that the ANC and EFF failed to agree on a common candidate?
Yes, that's definitive now. Tembekile, the ANC and the EFF couldn't strike a deal over who to support in the Ekurhuleni Council. Welcome back to the council chambers. Earlier we showed you live visuals of voting underway. Let's give you some visuals of the counting that has now begun. Counting's happening in the center of the council chambers. You see a number of IEC officials. Most of the councillors have already left the chamber as this process is underway. Political party monitors also there, keeping a keen eye on what's happening. One of them is Solim Samanga. You'll see him on the left of the frame wearing the navy blue jacket on behalf of the Democratic Alliance. The ANC also having its own observers there. And this is going to be a really tight election, the results of which is not certain at this point. The fact that it was a secret ballot leaves the door open for any possible outcome. The EFF in the secret ballot may have propped up the multi-party coalition of the Democratic Alliance, giving control of the city back to it, as it did in the first election where Tania Campbell was elected mayor. She's just left of screen there. Or the ANC may have secured enough votes to win a simple majority with the support of the what they call the Super 7. Those would be the minority parties. This is the public gallery where a number of people are also watching the proceedings closely. And with us now, we have the regional secretary for the Ekurhuleni region of the ANC. Moipone Mhlongo is the youngest regional secretary of the ANC in the country. She's the one overseeing these proceedings. Earlier, the Gauteng Premier Panyaza Lesufi was here. He isn't here at the moment. Let's speak to Moipone Mhlongo. Thank you so much for your time. Moipone, let's just begin with what appeared to be confusion. We thought that the ANC and the EFF had a deal, but both parties nominated candidates. What happened there?
Thank you, Govan. Greetings to your viewers. I think coalition talks are something that continues to be an ongoing process, and it's something that happens until the doorstep. And we felt at the end of the talks that we should field our own candidate. This is a resolution that the ANC felt is the best way to move forward for the city and our people.
Were you surprised when Nkululeko Dunga accepted the nomination and then withdrew it later?
We were surprised. He had said his withdrawal. We were not surprised that he accepted his nomination as well, because we saw that our talks had come to an end and a collapse. So that is where we were.
So you weren't surprised that he actually accepted it, but surprised at his withdrawal. Why were you surprised at the withdrawal?
Look, we arrived at a point where there were certain things that we had agreed to as both the coalition talks went through. So we were shocked when he decided to withdraw now his candidature.
All right, let's get a straight question here then. The ANC in the region fielded Jongizizwe Dlabathi, the chief whip of the ANC, as the candidate for mayor. The expectation was that the ANC would support Nkululeko Dunga for the position of mayorship because of negotiations at the provincial levels. Did the regional ANC defy the province in fielding its own candidate here for mayor?
Look, everything that has happened today with the ANC has been talks between both structures, the regional and the provincial structures. Nothing that we have done here today is something out of the agreements that have happened between ourselves and the province of the ANC.
So the EFF fielded a candidate without having the ANC support?
The EFF would have gone their way and we went ours.
This election seems tight. In order for the ANC to win this election, they would have to get support from what they call the Super 7, the minority parties, and bank on the EFF abstaining or at least spoiling their ballots so that the multi-party coalition doesn't have enough votes to win the election. Moipone, what do you think the outcome of this election will be?
It is a very tight contestation, as we have seen happening here. However, what we are very confident about and what we are happy about is that we came as the ANC, we stood firm on our view, we fielded our candidate because we believe it is the best candidate that is best for our people. And whatever the outcomes will be of this election, the ANC will take graciously, because when we put the motion forward of no confidence, we put it because we wanted to better the lives of our people. We put it forward because we could see that the city is in a very deteriorating state. And as the ANC, we believe that we are still the best party within Ekurhuleni to can be able to move the lives people forward. Thank you.
It does sound like you're expecting the multi-party coalition to come back into power over here. Is that a possibility at this stage?
I think let's wait for the outcomes of the voting. They are almost done, and then that will determine where we are. Thank you.
On the Gauteng Premier, Panyaza Lesufi, being here and then leaving, can we read anything into that? It does seem like these attempts to bring the EFF on side to support either the ANC candidate or the ANC support the EFF had failed. Did he leave because he was unhappy with the candidate fielded by the ANC here?
The Premier of Gauteng, who is also the provincial chairperson, supports the candidate of the ANC fully. He was here together with the provincial secretary, Comrade TK Ngiza. Both of them support the ANC and what it's doing today. If they were not supporting us, they would not have even came here today. Thank you.
And finally then, does this mean that cooperation between the EFF and the ANC here in the city of Ekurhuleni has suffered a major setback? Or do you think that there is still room to build a relationship, to form some sort of agreement, or at least a partnership on voting blocks?
I think when it comes to coalitions and the state that we find ourselves in, which is a very different state that we have not always been familiar with it. We're entering into unfamiliar territory. There should always be room for engagement. We should always allow ourselves to be engaged as we engage others. And we understand, of course, that we are operating with political parties which have they've got different political ideologies and they represent something different. And as such, there will always be those differences. But that does not leave out the room for engagement. There should always be room for engagement.
Thank you so much. Appreciate that. That's Moiponi Mplongo. She's the regional secretary of the ANC in Ekurhuleni. Speaking to Newzroom Afrika as we await the outcome of the votes here in the Ekurhuleni Council chambers. Let's give you some live footage of the counting once again just before we go. It looks like they're reaching some finality here, and they should be able to give the outcome within the next few minutes, at least the next 20 minutes. We're expecting the speaker to give the outcome of this election. You heard from the regional secretary of the ANC there. They're cautiously optimistic. Well, not optimistic. They're ready to accept defeat graciously. She said if that is the outcome, it surely would be embarrassing for the ANC after the intervention of its provincial chairperson. But it looks like they'll be ready to accept that outcome. And clearly, they don't know what the EFF did in those secret ballots there. Not ready to speculate on whether they may have propped up the multi-party coalition either. But we'll be here and we'll bring you that breaking news as soon as it happens. For now, it's back to you, Tembi.
Govan, Whittles, thank you very much for that update from the Ekurhuleni Council.